Hi everyone, welcome to MMA The Beginning, where we talk about the early days of MMA. My guest this week is, he devoted his life to martial arts. He's won multiple championships in karate, taekwondo, kickboxing and MMA. And not only that, is he gives a lot back to the community, and he's an all-round great guy. John Dawson. John, how are you, mate?
Good morning. I'm fine. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks for coming on. The reason I wanted to get you on was because you were the only MMA gym really that was going around back in the day. Because I remember when I first watched the early UFCs and I wanted to learn to train. I mean, I was doing judo and karate at the time. And then I come to your gym. Someone at school, Ray Trousdale, told me, he's like, oh, you need to go to this gym because they do everything. I was like, what? Like they do on the UFC? And he was like, yeah. And I just got so excited. Anyway, I remember coming along. And it was just incredible. Like, I just couldn't believe that there was a gym out there that was teaching everything, you know? Yeah. And not only that, was how you were mixing the strikes within the grappling and things like that. Talk us about your journey through martial arts, because obviously this has just been something that you've done for a lifetime and devoted your life to it.
How long's a piece of string? It's a difficult. I suppose it's easy for someone on the other side to go, oh, you start there. That's probably the most poignant. But I started off in the Bruce Lee era. I just, you know what I mean? I thought, oh, I saw this guy on the telly. Yeah. And I just was rushing along to St. Aidan's Hall, which isn't there anymore. Yeah. To pay me money to learn Lao Ga Kung Fu. But when I found out the price, what they were charging, I could my pocket didn't fit it, so I mucked around a little bit. The first club I went to was a Wadokai club, and it was okay. It stimulated me because I come from a really passive background. It's like I've been doing this for 42 years, but I came from a really passive background. Anyway, so I stuck with that club for a little bit, and then lo and behold, I was on my tea with my late mum and dad, and this amazing martial arts came on where these guys were kicking each other and actually smashing things with their feet. And a club was in Hartlepool. I'd been there about 7 or 8 months, I think. The club was named Gavin Musgrave, but it was run by a late lamented, in my opinion, unbelievable athlete called Richard Pallister, who died. He went to America for a holiday, went out too far, swam, and had a massive heart attack and died. But he wasn't unfit. He was just this fit, super guy. You know what I mean? So where does the journey start? The journey starts there, and then what happens is you take a working class hero. It's something to be, and you kind of look at things and you realize when you have the confidence of learning any sport, combat or martial arts. After a while, you do become confident. Some people it goes totally the other way, but for me, it's because I was like this little closet. Sounds wrong. This little closet like artist that like just loved art and making special effects and stuff like this. Because this is how it all started. But like I used to get total. I'm be very careful what I say. Pan for it. Yeah, I used to get pan for it and bullied an awful lot. And it used to be pretty soul destroying. So once I started martial arts, it never made me superhuman, but it made me confident in the rest of my life. Yeah. Which made me martial arts even more confident. So I've been going. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was going to say that was exactly the same thing with me. Like, if I hadn't have done martial arts, I don't think I would have really had the confidence to do comedy and just take that risk. Do you know what I mean? Because not only that is it, I think when you learn martial arts, I think, like you taught me before, it just gives you more respect for life, not just martial arts. It just gives you more respect for life, and you have more respect for others. You know what I mean? And I think it is the confidence factor, isn't it? Because you like you say, you're not superhuman, but you feel like you've got that. You're a step ahead of that person, of that average Joe who would maybe try and attack you on the street. You know?
Yeah. Once you become like embroiled or really into the martial arts and on all the levels, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, which becomes a technical, what you find out is, because I was a proper sport combat junkie, And that was my main thing. So when I was doing Taekwondo, like the birth of kind of kickboxing was really happening. It started a long time before that, but it was actually being commercial. And I was like, oh, Dad, have you seen this? Have you seen this? As you go on when you're a kid, don't you? What is it like? And the cable had just come out for tellies.
God, I remember cable.
Yeah, it was on Eurosport, and they put some of the PKA, the Professional Karate Association, on, and you had superheroes on there, and I was just like, I want to be like that.
Was this knockdown karate or was this points karate? Because knockdown Kyoshin karate is just brutal, isn't it?
No, we did. What we did is earlier on there was very little knockdown karate around here. The Kyokushinkai was the original system, and it was developed by a guy, a Sensei Masoyama, who looked at all the other styles of karate, but he wanted the hardest form of karate. This guy was amazing, by the way. One of his feats was it's a bit cruel now, but he'd get panned for it. He'd fight with a bull, snap its arm off, and knock it out with his hand. His karate was just so strong. And what these people do.
Hang on. Let me just get my head around this. So he would kick a bull in the leg and break its leg, and then
he'd punch it with his hands.
Right.
He'd snap its arms off. His knuckles were so fused. He had one knuckle. This Masoyama, it would go all over the world and promote this Kyokushinkai, which is still really, really strong. You've got he was a K1 fighter. He died of leukemia. Andy Hug, that's the man. Andy Hug. So Andy Hug was part of that, and that's why I got into the K1. No, well, what I'm saying is that I did a little bit of knockdown, and half the club did a little bit of knockdown. I can tell you some really good stories about that, but it'll take all. And anyway, so I was into the kickboxing, and I was just like, well, my hands aren't too bad, but I can't half kick. You know what I mean? You get to that point. Yeah. But the point is that without going backwards and forwards too much, you have your own personal evolution, and you see something, and you look at these amazing athletes, which is now MMA. If I was the same age now, I'd be, listen, man. If I had the same experience but was young enough, I'd get as much money as I could. I'd get me a plane, and I'd go over there. I'd say, go, excuse me, Mr. Dana White, you don't know me, but I'm really, you won't believe me at the moment, but I'm really talented, and I'll make a really good fighter. Could you please let me within the folds of your association? There's loads of other really good MMA associations, but what I'm saying is personal evolution. So I did Taekwondo, I fought Taekwondo, I went to nationals. I was absolutely, excuse me, dog shit at it, like at that point in time. Yeah, because what happened was, like, they put me in as a yellow belt against black belt internationals, and my old instructor was, you'll be good enough. You'll be good enough. And they put me in the Crystal Palace, like a yellow belt. I got double graded. And I was watching these guys kick. I was like, what? And I went, right, John Dawson, Ebby Gabar, to call this lad. And he was already a second-hand black belt. And he absolutely pasted me.
Really?
No, I had two choices at that time. And this is how I figure things out, mate, because I don't like to give in. I don't like to give up on anything. So I sat there, Danny, for the rest of the day, and I watched all these top athletes fight and compete, and I saw that, you know what I mean, and I liked it, so I did it. I fought regionally, fought on a national squad for a while, and I loved it. But I knew that my next personal evolution was going to be to kickboxing or something related to kickboxing. So I got involved with that. I did kickboxing. I used to train with a guy called Barry Norman, who was Thai boxing now. He's in Newcastle. I used to go up and visit them, but I had my own club. You know what I mean? I could actually. The thing is, there's that much to tell you about the journey. It's just a long journey.
Yeah, but I quite like that when you were saying about, you know, you basically got your ass kicked in that tournament when you were a yellow belt. But what you've done is you stopped back and you watched everyone. Now there's two choices you can make in that situation. You can stop back and watch and learn, or you can just walk away with your head down and go, I got beat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously you chose the right path, which is the reason that you're successful. You got your gym in Hartlepool. How's all that been going as well? Because obviously we're in lockdown at the minute. When's the gym going to be open? Or is that?
I don't know. Listen. This is where it's all going to go terribly, terribly wrong, because we're all excited to get back to the gym.
Yeah.
So you get, if we're lucky, 30 to 35 sweaty people training together, spreading the germs on each other. I would not want to. It sounds like proper defeatist this, but I would not like to be responsible for anyone getting injured or getting a disease that I was responsible for. What I'm doing is I'm doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I'm not going to take classes on till it's like legal. But then I'm only going to do the 2 meter rule, and I'm going to narrow my classes down and do more classes.
Yeah.
It's going to be twice as hard, but at the end of the day, it's like 10 times better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you said, you go, because of the reputation the club associations had over the years. It's because we like to help people and we like to care for people, and that's what the point is. And that's why sometimes when things get you get a bit fed up with people and fighters leaving and whatever, because you invested a lot of time, you feel a little bit disillusioned. But then somebody else comes along or inspires the next generation of what it is to do. You know what I mean? Because I was a fighter, I was selfish. I got involved with the kickboxing. Then someone knocked me out with an elbow. We're supposed to be doing kickboxing with him. They called him Tony Pierce. I think he's still around. And he used to be a Wadokai bloke. And he went to a karate tournament in Holland. And the promoter saw him fight and went, listen, you want to do Thai boxing? So he did that over there for a couple of years. And he was always going to fight Benny the Jet, but it never came off, this story. I don't know how true it is. Yeah, all these little heroes from, you know what I mean? So
because I remember you introduced me to Benny the Jet, and the only reason you introduced me to Benny the Jet is you caught me with that back kick so many times that you get people with, and I was like, not only did he have a brilliant back kick though, he had awesome throws as well. He had judoka standard throws that he was getting people with in kickboxing fights.
His mum was a wrestler, his dad was a boxer, all the other part of the family, Blinky Rodriguez and all the rest of them, they all did different martial arts, but he did Tang Soo Do, you know what I mean? And he just wanted to involve himself and evolve himself. And there's 2 books I lived with all the way through my career, as a martial artist, if you can call it a career. And that was Training Fighting Skills by Ben. It's an advertisement, this, but if you want to work on understanding it, it's not dated. Training Fighting Skills by Ben the Jet Urquidez. And it's got everything from diet, the best times to run, and even now combinations that you can use. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And obviously, Wallace stretching for kicks, because at the point in time, this lovely generation's got all this internet, and they've got everything at their disposal. We only had books. If we couldn't get something off another master or another fighter, we had to go, wait, he's done a book. You know what I mean? Or he might have brought a what do they call it, Panther video out. But Panther videos were even at that time £45 for a tuitional video, and still there was a series of 10 learning off Bill Silver Wallace or Benny the Jet Urquidez. You know what I mean? Well, the point is about the MMA, the eventual MMA journey was it happened a couple of different times, and what happens is my friend John Aiken, who's a lovely, you have to get him on here.
Grappler as well.
Because you'll love him. He's got some lovely experiences about the time that BJ Penn came to his gym and trained with him and all that. Actually, BJ Penn trained at John's gym. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, I remember Ricky Mackay was telling us about that. Yeah.
I was teaching over at Newcastle University Thai at the time, and the phones go mental on that night. And I'm with me teaching. I tried to be professional, so I'll answer that later. And we finally got the phone. It was like, he said, come across. He says, you can do some rolling with BJ Penn. No. So I shot up along there. I was like a kid. I was like a kid. And I got there and he'd already went. What he'd done is he'd won a warm up. He wanted a warm up roll, and he wanted to go. What a clever guy! He used to work on the performance, including the walk-in, before he even fought, and that's what he did with his brothers. And that's why they went asked it. They said John Artkin. He says no, John Aiken. Pleased to meet you all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the old man from the fighting locker story, but it's a really good story. But I kicked myself. Now, a couple of years later, I was doing an article for Bob Sykes for the Martial Arts Illustrated, because they had I wrote for the Martial Arts Illustrated for about 20 years. But I used to have a column called "Have Gloves Will Travel," where I go to different MMA gyms and train and do all of the train with them and report on the gym.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So I actually sent BJ Penn. I got the magazine to agree to give me part of the flight to Hawaii to go and train with BJ Penn, and he didn't even answer. He didn't even answer, man. Do you know what I mean?
That's terrible.
But the evolution point of everything is people looking at MMA now, and because it's very of public. Like I can remember, I don't know, let's say 20 years ago, everyone was talking kickboxing, and then they're going, nah, in the pub when you're having your pint. You want that Thai boxing? That's tougher than that kickboxing.
Yeah, and it proved it, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like a technical evolution. It's like if you want to be a complete person, it's no good like skipping here, skipping there, skipping there. Be good at something. Be a really good boxer even, and then go into wrestling, and then go into. Do you know what I mean? Because there's just no way you can evolve by learning something like quarter of an hour every week off somebody.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you get people, and I'm not running anyone down. You get people going to courses. So I don't know. Just say, for instance, like a Japanese judoka who's been training for 60 years or 50 years, and you go to his course and roll with them, or you learn to see some really cool waza or tachi, and you go and train with them. And you walk away with a certificate, and you think you know as much as him. Doesn't work like that.
No, I just
don't get it. You know what I mean?
Lifetime of judo. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I love about like how now I think you're starting to see that although everyone's a complete fighter now, you can still see that everyone's got that element of. Like you can see their boxing's the best about them, or you can see that their judo's the best about. I mean, I loved Ronda Rousey because she does my favorite throw, and she was getting everybody with it. And I didn't realize that you could reverse a double leg takedown by doing like a sweep throw, a haragoshi they call it in Japanese. People with it all the time, and I was like, oh my god, I never ever thought of doing that. And I seen people using shoulder throws, and I was always apprehensive about doing them because I thought, well, someone's just going to jump on the back and choke. Yeah, I just feel like now it's just such a free for all. But if you go back to the early days, I mean, you were mentioning Bill the Superfoot Wallace. I mean, you've trained with Bill the Superfoot Wallace, haven't you?
I've trained with him 3 times. I've interviewed him 4 times.
Really? Wow.
And the thing about Bill Superfoot Wallace, right? And if you ever meet him, because I was again that geeky kid, where when I went to my mum, I think my mum had just died, and I got the tickets to go and train with him in London. I think he was in Camden, and my little late dad went, "Oh, then son, I'll take you." We travelled down, and I got me pad, and I was going to meet me God. At that point, you know what I mean? And like, there's all these cool people there, and I was like the little skinny lad from Hartlepool. Well, I was skinny then. The little skinny lad from Hartlepool in this like room full of fighters. Like, it's like, whoa, I know him. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I sat and I wrote everything down, and he come over to me at the end because he had a little notepad. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I goes, "I'm just writing stuff down." He says, "Didn't you learn anything?" I goes, "Yeah." I says, "But listen, man," I says, "this is a big, big thing to me." You know what I mean? I says, I know more about you and your career than any other one fight at that point in time.
Yeah. And
he goes, "Well, what do you know?" I says, "Well, what do you want to know about your life?" I says, "I know about your early points." I know about early points. I know that you know what I mean. You were 1-to-1 for for Elvis Presley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? John Belushi, you used to be like knocking about with him, and he just had you around, but he wouldn't train all the time. He was one of the top comedians in the world, John Belushi.
John Belushi was, yeah.
Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
You know that, don't you? Yeah.
No, absolutely, yeah.
It's the coolest thing. And then anyway, like, okay, it was nice to meet you. And then 2 years later, a top Taekwondo association had said, right, we'll have you there, stretching and kicking us. And you know what, mate? And this is the God's honest truth. I was stood with my haversack on in the sports hall, just outside the sports hall, and he waddled over to me, and he shook my hand and he cuddled me and he went, "How's it going, John?" That man, and I know I'll say, but he never forgot me.
Wow.
And then as soon as I got accepted as a writer for the magazine, and they said, "John, do you want to interview Bill Wallace?" I was there.
Yeah, I bet you were.
And the last honor was the last seminar I did with him. He demonstrated with me and on me, and it was just like, I felt like, you know what I mean.
Sometimes you think things are complete, don't you? Because so you were saying Bill the Superfoot Wallace, he was training Elvis as well.
Yeah,
he trained Elvis.
There was a couple of them. There was a clique going on. There was Mike Stone. There was Ed Parker. Ed Parker was Elvis's #1 instructor because he did Kempo karate with him.
He was a 4th degree or something in Kempo karate, Elvis, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was about 9th dan or something. You know what I mean?
Really?
One of the questions I asked Bill Wallace when I got a chance to interview him for the magazine, I went, "Come on, and don't lie to me," because I could talk to him like that then.
Yeah.
Was Elvis the man? I said, "Was Elvis the man? Could Elvis really do it?" He goes, "Elvis was badass. He could fight. He was no wimp." You know what I mean? So he could. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's another thing we talked about, which is pretty like it's gone past the time now, but it's like I watched a story about Robin Williams and his life, and he said the night that John Belushi had overdosed, he'd went to see him, and apparently, he had went to see him, but it wasn't him overdosing. It's Bill Wallace that found him. You know what I mean? Because Bill Wallace took a great offense about this. Yeah, these little stories, and you think, God, I've touched the hands that's touched the God.
Yeah,
it's with Royce Gracie. You know what I mean? You think these people are like unapproachable, but Danny, we writing for people for 22 years and meeting your heroes. Once you get to meet them, some are overwritten and they're like a waste of time, and others are just more than you could possibly expect.
They are, and you know what? It was like last couple of weeks ago when I interviewed Ken Shamrock. He was just lovely. He was a gentleman, and I was just like, wow, because I thought, you know what, this is a guy who's an absolute weapon. He's a badass. I've saw what happens in the Lion's Den. I've saw what he does to people to train them for fight. But that's just business. That's what he does to get people ready for fight. But as a person, he was just lovely. He was an absolute gentleman.
Do you know what? The first word that comes to mind when I look at that man is volatile.
He looks like an angry man, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? And you just
think.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like awesome. Yeah. Lion's Den. Frank Shamrock. Did you see the documentary about them getting back together again and him apologising?
Bound by Blood. And do you know what I loved about Bound by Blood is if anyone gets to watch that, it's a brilliant documentary. Is obviously they weren't talking. And then when they do talk and Frank meets Ken in Ken's gym, you can clearly see the Frank, as good as a fighter Frank is. I mean, I thought as a fighter, technically, Frank is awesome. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He was the first, really, along with Pat Miletich, to be the first proper, polished the whole stone as a fighter. I mean, he could kick, he could punch, he could do everything in such a sort of an excelled way, you know? And the moment he meets Ken, you can just see he had fear. You know, if you piss Ken off, you can just see in Ken's face. Even if Ken didn't do martial arts, I think he would have been a tough man anyway, because I feel like he's got it in him, you know?
The thing is, though, with when you analyse it and look at it, and you should, I'm not being disrespectful to Murray's family. You could see because he was, they were both brought up by someone who loved them and looked after them, obviously. But you could tell they were both tough lads, and they were looking for direction, and they found some direction. And then obviously Frank inadvertently betrayed that a little bit.
He did, and that's what
you understand it. So that's the way you understand that passion.
Yeah,
you can understand the passion from Ken Shamrock's point of view. That's what I'm saying. Because when I watched it, I thought, "Oh, this is going to kick off."
Exactly. I thought that. And do you know what? It wouldn't have surprised me if Ken had just shot in and took him down or something in the middle of the gym, and they both sat there on the chair. But then at the same time, you're thinking, obviously they have fallen out. They've made friends again. Well, have they made friends again? We don't know. But then at the same time, if you look at the media side of things like that make good telly as well, don't they? But talking back to Royce Gracie, because you were saying that you've trained with Royce Gracie as well.
Yeah, it was my mate. I wasn't seen for a couple of years. Bob Sykes, who originally got me writing for the magazine about 1989.
Yeah.
He knew that I loved Royce Gracie, as in technical, basically early semaphore UFC when John Milius, film director, did you know that John Milius had threw money at the UFC right at the beginning? John Milius is the guy that made Conan and all these top Hollywood.
Really? Wow! I didn't know that.
He was mad on gladiators and everything. And then I think it was Orion had got this mock-up cage done. Have you seen that? Have you seen the Gracie documentary?
Well, I've seen quite a few actually, but I do know that Orion there was him and Art Davey, wasn't there? Who sort of got together. And then after a while, Bob Marowitz was the one funding it. But I think he went to court so many times because of the rules. I mean, as much as the fighters are safer now, I got to say it was more exciting watching it back then. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it wasn't as safe for the fighters, but my God, it was like watching Bloodsport, but reality, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, which brings me to the point is what I was watching before this is I was training with John. I was training at John Aitken's, and he had a guy doing a version of shoe fighting called John Brown. He still trains with John now.
Really?
So and I jumped in. What happens is I jump in with these two guys, right? I can't remember what the other one was. One was John Brown. He's a massive fella, and they were doing this shoe fighting as a gi shoe fighting.
Yeah.
So I'd have my little gi, and then I think I was 62 kilos. I was just getting a little bit older, and they'd show me something, and I go, right, how are we doing this? And then so I do it with that one, and I do it with that one. And I don't get a rest. They just show me. So the lessons used to be 45 minutes long, which doesn't sound a long time, but you get thrown by and pinned and punched and kicked off somebody for And what happened was I saw John teaching his grappling class. I was in teaching mine in his gym in the big market in Newcastle. And I saw him teaching it, and he goes, "Are you interested, John?" I says, "No." I says, "Because I'm a striker. This is how it all came about."
Yeah.
He says, "But what if you fight a grappler?" And this was all that. This was another personal evolution. And I goes, "Yeah, you're right. You know what I mean?" And then I started to learn it. He says, "But he used to call me the clamp, because anything I got hold of, I wouldn't leave loose of. Instead of setting stuff." So I got guard and I wrap it because I was quite flexible. I got guard. I just put your arms underneath you, not leave loose. I wasn't even thinking in finishes. I just want you to stop your movements. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then eventually evolved, and I got into Genki Sudo. I love Genki Sudo. He's a god, man. He's a god. You know what I mean? Everything, performance levels, everything. Genki Sudo just intellectually added there. You know what I mean? So anyway, Royce Gracie. It's my birthday, and Bob Sykes has got a seminar on at this place, and I'm learning with all these lovely people. Took some of my people. I think Ricky was with us.
Yeah.
And Royce goes, we get about through the first hour, and Royce looks round and he goes, "Anyone who's only had less than 4 years rolling, you know what I mean? Sit the side. If you've had a bit more, then you can come and we'll roll where you like." So I'm sat down like that, being dead respectful, and he comes right over and he goes, "You." And I look at him like that. He goes, let's roll. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God. So the lads I took, I was on Ray on one knee because he was like trying to take me hips. And I went, there's his head.
So when you rolled,
did you his head, I pulled choke and I pulled guard. One of me, can't remember who shouted at one of our lot went, fucking hell, he's choking Royce Gracie. As soon as I heard that, for the next half an hour, he flipping tortured me.
Did he?
He absolutely tortured me. And at the end of it, I knew that he was going to Edinburgh to a friend of mine's called Rick Young, who was an amazing judo guy and jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah,
Rick, fantastic. And he'd make a good interview on it because he trains with. I'll tell you other stuff about him. Anyway.
You lent me a video once of Rick Young. It was a VHS one, and it was Jeet Kune Do, but there were judo techniques, and there were, they were rolling into arm bars, rolling into chokes, rolling into leg locks. It was brilliant. There were gi as well. It was gi grappling. It was this video was on. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll tell you about Rick in a minute because he's lovely. Anyway, so I went at the end of the seminar. I went up to Ice and bowed respectfully as you do. I said, excuse me, do you know that you're going to Edinburgh soon for a seminar? And he went, yes. Just looking at me like yes. like he does. And I went, I said, come to Hartlepool, we'll treat you like a god. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, well, go and see me agent, but I know this. I'm quick as a button. Me. So when someone says, it's like, I don't want to talk, I went, I'll tell you what then, I just went like this, I went, excuse me, with the greatest respect, let's not bother because I've already asked him 3 times. I hadn't asked him once. I've already asked him 3 times. He hasn't even put my number. He went, and Royce Gracie went like this on my old phone. He goes, because I didn't have my glasses on, and the numbers were like, I couldn't say the numbers to get his number down on my phone. I just went, excuse me, Master Gracie, yes, you couldn't put your number in there, could you? He goes, I says, because I've got no lamp oil. And he goes, lamp oil? What's lamp oil? I went, eyesight. He went, oh, and he laughed. You know what I mean? And like Ronnie Green come in, foot hands well, Thai boxing. So when I got my Carper certificate of Master Toddy, I used to go to Manchester and train with Ronnie. Yeah, and Ann Quinlan and all them. I loved them to bits. And then Ronnie come in, I hadn't seen him for ages. So I've got Royce Gracie on putting his number on my personal phone. Now I'm cuddling Ronnie, ignoring Royce Gracie. You know what I mean? Like, how did I do that? Why did I do that? You know what I mean? And he came. He was an hour and a half late. I was up for the seminar in Hartlepool, the CCA Academy. And it was packed. And I thought, oh, you better turn up. You know what I mean? An hour and a half late. I was like, everyone had paid and everything. You know what I mean? I was like, oh. And then he turned up. And what I'd done is, because I'm a bit arty, Anna, I'd painted his face wall in the dojo. And he walked straight in. He went, there's me. I went, yeah, that's you. He says, who done that? I said, me. Because I love you. Like, can you not? Like, I just went, I love you. Yeah. Nice. Come over here. And he got everybody. He got his photo took with it. And then he got all the team that he brought them. Because he brought a team of jiu-jitsu men with him. And he had them on. And he's got this massive amount of photos of him. And he loved it. And like someone was talking to him on Instagram. He says, yeah, but you have never invited me back. And the point is, it's like the reason why you never invite you back is because like people are not like getting interested anymore. I said a couple of months ago when I was trying to regenerate the MMA side in the gym, get some new fresh faces, and like there's a couple of old rollies there, and I said, look, I've got Lee Remedios here. I've got Lee Remedios. I've got Lee Remedios. He's only going to cost us 200 quid. You know what I mean? I says, and he's absolute diamond geezer. I says he's like fully decorated jiu-jitsu. He's fought on the UFC. You know what I mean? And if you want to learn something good, I says, and also, guess who his best mate is? John Kavanagh. And I went, who's John
Kavanagh? Conor McGregor's cut, yeah.
Wow. You know what I mean? And I think, but like, yeah, I only asked him about a year ago, and like he was going to come, but I never got back to him because no one, I couldn't make the money for this star to come.
Yeah, I'd be there.
But to be fair, Danny, we've been lucky. Anything that we've wanted to evolve, I've only fell short once. With the grappling side, I want to catch wrestling in the gym. I wanted someone to come down and teach catch wrestling, or at least do a seminar so people could get a taste of it. So it wasn't all Greco-Roman and it wasn't all Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It was this lovely contrast where you got like, you know. So what happened was, I phoned a guy, and a guy, and who like teaches it from the original instructor from Wigan. And they came down and they went with I don't know whether you were there, but they went with all the grapplers.
I was living in Torquay for a while, so I missed a few years at your gym, to be honest.
Right. Well, they came down and these catch wrestlers destroyed everybody. Not like roughly, but with pure technique and the way they trained. Yeah. And our caught them. I got them to come as like I said, I want to do an article on catch wrestling. You know what I mean? Because John had give me some information before, and then he'd give me a lovely documentary. And I'm going to research this further. But I found out it wasn't just Wigan that started off. Ireland's got their own form of catch wrestling as well. So right. I've done this article. I got them loads of publicity. Got this article, and they come down and done a seminar. And again, it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like this evolution of like learning things, because like you've got like Eric Paulson. I trained with Eric Paulson when I went down with Ricky. Well, and I trained with Eric in. Yeah,
he's training all the top guys in the like Eric Paulson now. He's training all the top guys in the UFC, isn't he?
He's an eclectic, nice, funny man, intelligent man. I trained with him, and I was rolling with somebody, and I was all over them because I like Genki Sudo, kind of like jiu-jitsu, where you go off what you feel, and he goes straight into something else. Now that's the way I was rolling anyway. And then at the end, he goes, "I've heard about you. You come to see us in Newcastle when Danny Inosanto, which is Bruce Lee's #1 student, was in." I says, "Yeah, that's right." He says, "You done an interview?" I says, "That's right, yeah." He goes, he says, "Not bad." He says, "Jiu-jitsu's not bad, man. Your jiu-jitsu's not bad." And then he gave me his phone number to phone him and get an article on him. And then I phoned him, and he says, "So what are you up to? What's your background?" I says, "Oh, I've just had the catch wrestlers down." He went, "Catch wrestling? Where's that at?" He's like that. He was like a kid. He was like a kid, like
an excited child. Yeah.
I gave the address, and he went. He's exactly like us. Now Rick Young and Eric Paulson, like both with the same association. Like in America, Danny and Santos Association.
Yeah.
Best story. Rick is so eclectic and modern. He did start with Wing Chun, but he was with the Scottish. He was with the Scottish judo squad. You know what I mean? And he learned loads with them. And he just went from like, don't know, writing little articles to like all of a sudden. But the best story he told me, he goes, "I went to Danny Inosanto's house. He made me welcome. He put me up." He says, and I'm like proper excited because he's the guy that like basically trained with Bruce Lee. He's his #1.
Film, wasn't it? What film was Danny Inosanto? Was it the nunchuckers scene with Bruce Lee? Danny Inosanto.
Yeah, he was in that, but he was also in a Steven Seagal movie, wasn't he? Hard to Kill. Was it Hard to Kill? Where he fights him, call him Sticks in it. They go Sticks, and he fight like Seagal's got a stick, and Danny's got 2 Bali sticks. Yeah. Anyway, so what's happening is like Danny went out to make a cup of coffee for him and Rick, and just before he went, he just put a book on his lap like that, and Rick looked down. It was the Tower of Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee, but not the printed version. It was the original text with everything. The Tower of Jeet Kune Do. And he was going through it like that. He says, "I could not believe that I was reading the book that Bruce Lee had written about mixed martial arts," which is more the point, isn't it?
Mixed martial arts, yeah.
Bruce Lee was the first mixed martial artist, man. He's the first one to realise. He trained with Wally J, who was small circle jiu-jitsu. and one of his top coaches was Larry Hartzell, who was a wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling coach and an Olympic wrestler. You know what I mean? He did Savat. He trained Taekwondo with Junri. It was what he did is he sat there and tried to figure it out. And this is what I'm trying to say about mixed martial arts. Everyone thinks it's new. Every martial artist, every martial arts scientist who wants to evolve themselves and understand about either the protective, the survival arts or the combat arts have gone and found a natural evolution into another system, as opposed to like MMA. Like say we bring a young man into the gym tomorrow who's watched 1 million UFC fights and Ultimate Fighters and that, and we put him in there, and he already knows everything. He already knows everything, but he's done nothing. Do you understand? Yeah. What we did is we looked for a personal evolution, and that's how Close Combat Arena came about. Because I didn't want to pin it down. Because when I did Taekwondo, they called it Taekwondo. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. And then I did kickboxing. What can we call it? It was modern conceptual kickboxing. I thought, no, closed combat, because that's where it ends up. Closed combat arena, and that's how it evolved. And its thing is, it's like it doesn't. The syllabus is it evolves. In that, like when someone or something new comes along, everyone gives something. You know what I mean? Suppose, I don't know, you show somebody a hip throw or set up on a hip throw that you haven't done for years, that you only learned when you're that lovely 15-year-old kid where you flick over. You know what I mean? It's like, and then you just go, oh, there's a bad eye you can set up with this like Tominagi. You know what I mean? There's a bad eye set up with Tominagi, so you like go, oh right, yeah, and then you shows and we go, and for a week we practicing it. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. But that's how it should be. But that, you know what I mean? I think for me it was like MMA was going on long before the UFC. It was Judo Jean LaBelle, which is you mentioned it earlier. What they call it? Who fought in the UFC?
Well, yeah, Jean LaBelle,
our main coach. He fought in the Knowles Bar competition in the late 60s.
He did, yeah, he did.
He did. So it was out before then, and there was a guy, a Japanese American guy. He launched a system, a full contact, any rules called Sabaki, and that was called the Sabaki Challenge. So what everybody
didn't it? Pat Smith won that before the UFC. Yeah.
Well, Eric Paulson fought on it. He fought a boxer. And the boxer had, because he had long hair, Eric Paulson then, and the boxer had hold of him and was punching him while he had all his hair. And no one stopped the fight. He ended up winning in the end, Paulson, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's amazing. People don't realize you have to look at his career, but like his videos, killer leg locks and chicken wings, there must be the most to watch videos for anybody who's into shoots and takedown finishes. Because I tell you what, they're just so comprehensive. If you haven't seen them, he still puts them out, like, because they're all originally on VHS, I think, or something. Or Betamax.
You can watch on YouTube now.
Yeah. Well, the well worth the watch because of setups and his fluidity. And like I say, the reason why people go to him is because he's brilliant at what he does. He's just so, it's like us. It's like our brains, like, we love martial arts and our brains are sponge. It's not styles. It's technical techniques that go within that framework work. Like I've been practicing like the form from Wing Chun just because I can't kick at the moment. Because I go next week I go to the hospital to see what they're going to do with my hip. Right. But like I say, I learn a Wing. It sounds stupid, but I learn a Wing Chun form that you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, but that's what martial arts is. It's a constant of your own personal evolution. But you have to use your intelligence to evolve. If you want to be a top MMA fighter, you're going to find it tough, right? Because what happens is, the point is, and this is the point for everything, and I'm not running anybody down, nobody has all the answers. That's the point. But what you have got to realize, or you've got to be with a group of people that realize, is the type of fighter that you want to be. Because let's face it, if I said list 10 MMA fighters, even from Bellator or whatever, you know what I mean? Even it's not really, it's pretty rude. That Bellator's a good system, isn't it? But I've said list 10 fighters. You pick all your 10 fighters for 10 different reasons.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Some of them finish with their hands. Some of them finish with their legs. Some of them jump off the side of the cage and hit you with these fantastic kicks.
If
Dominic Cruz, you've got this lovely, if you Dominic Cruz, you've got this lovely footwork. It's like what it needs to get done from an edified point of view. But this is just me. It's my old man's humble opinion. Is if you're going to be good at mixed martial arts, please be good at something first. Be good. Yeah. Give yourself at least 3 to 4 years and immerse yourself in something. Yes, still do MMA, but like stay with that. Learn the strengths of that one. Don't go and dilute it to go to that one, to that one, to that one, that one.
Then that's your ace card, then, isn't it? You know, because if you look at MMA now, you know, and you see like Cody Garbrandt, his strength is his boxing, so he will use that to his advantage. And you see most fighters who fight him, they try not to stand and box with him because they know how good his hands are. Do you know what I mean? So you can imagine if you were to fight him, you would think, well, if my strength was to be grappler, you know, you'd think, well, my ace card's me grappling, his ace card is his boxing, but we both know we're both well-rounded, but we also have our strengths. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The stupidest thing I ever did was like, I got my mate's always getting this, well, he doesn't do so much now because he's getting old and all. But like I keep mentioning Bob Sykes, and we were really close mates when we were writing for the magazine and everything. And I got, like I say, it gave me this springboard to just like contact anybody who's, you know what I mean? I wrote that book. I was in that magazine. You know, I wrote that book. Was in that magazine. I was in that magazine.
By the way, John, do you want to tell everyone about your book? Good to plug your book while you're here.
Wrote 2 books.
Yeah.
That was the first one. Ever Perpetual Circles. That was like when the martial arts was rife in the Hartlepool People Centre.
That's People Centre.
My point is, it's like, it's about personal evolution and everything. It's about confidence. Martial arts has been the best friend to me. You know what I mean? Some days I like can call it and go, look what you've done to my hip. I need a new one. But then I go, hold on a minute. What would I have been if I hadn't been part of that? And where would I be where would that person be? And this is more the point, Danny. It's very Bodo. Where would that person be if I hadn't said, look, Owie, I haven't got enough money. It doesn't matter. That's what martial arts should be. And I know people want to make money out of martial arts, and I get that. But don't forget to be a human being.
Absolutely. I remember the times I was skint and I used to tell him, go, John, like, I'll have to owe you this money next week. This was years. I must have been 15. I had a paper round, you know what I mean? And you were like, don't worry about it, Dan, because you knew I had either a tournament coming up or a fight coming up. And you were there. And you were like, listen, I don't care. I just want you to do well, and I want to train you, and I want to basically enhance your life. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got a lot of
what I like about, and still like about you. And it inspires me someday, because when you knock about with people who are ambitious, you feel ambition. I liked your drive, and I like how hard you'd work, and you never complain. I've had loads of fighters like that over the years, but none that stick. Other people that stick in my head, believe it or not, are people like Ian Cooper, where like he goes, please teach me MMA. And I get him ready for cage fights. He's next Commonwealth boxing champion. And like, God, I don't know how many amateur fights he's had. But I don't need to tell these people, like Kevin Bennett, when he was training with me. Oh, I love Kevin, and I learned more about boxing from Kevin Bennett than any one person. And George, I was my coach in boxing.
Yeah,
he was my coach in boxing. But I used to spar with Kevin on an afternoon for an hour and a half, and I learned more about movement, timing, and boxing, because I was a totally different boxer to Kevin. But like, he helped me. And Ian, listen, people who already got, this is what my point about MMA. Say, Ian, I never had to tell Ian to go for a run. I never had to tell Ian to make weight.
Yeah.
I never had to tell Kevin, you know what I mean? They just done it. Because what they got, they enjoyed the lessons, and they enjoyed the preparations for the lessons. And they got so much like learning from that to evolve themselves. And that's the point. There's been other people, don't get me wrong. I've got loads of friends, made loads of friends out of the martial arts. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think mixed martial arts is a journey. If you're going to take it, is you've got to decide if you can't go, I'll have a couple of months off. I'm going to be a world champion, but I'm going to have a couple of months off.
You can't do
never
that.
Happened, mate. Never happened. I used to fight one weekend. I had a full association. I had clubs in Hartlepool, Stockton, Bishop Auckland, Shildon, Bristol, and Swansea. So when I was married properly, it was the worst. No wonder I'm not married anymore. There was other reasons. But the point was, I was never home. I was always fighting somewhere, either with the Warriors in Europe or Great Britain on a tournament circuit, or fighting somewhere else, or sporting fighting somewhere else, or doing seminars or doing grades. And it was a great time, because the thing is, it's like, but what you realize is, like, it saps so much of your lives. So you have to sit back a bit. You have to go, right. But my point is, the stupidest thing I ever did, and I'll get back to it now, was my mate phones us up. Bob Sykes, he goes, your jiu-jitsu, Carl Tanswell said, God bless Carl Tanswell, he's dead now. He committed suicide. God bless.
Bless him.
He said, Bob Sykes said, your jiu-jitsu shit. And I'm like, what? Now, Carl Tanswell, I love Carl, and I shouldn't talk ill of the dead, but like, I rolled with Carl Tanswell, right? But he's only teaching me. I'm not actually doing anything to resist what he's doing.
Yeah.
So he tells John Aiken, like, I'm shit. And John Aiken tells me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go off on one. I said, right, I'll fight you. And he won't have no, we're not doing that. And then a couple of months, like a year later, he's at a promotional thing in Dockland in London. He comes to the MAI store, Martial Arts Illustrated promotional store, and I'm on it. And as before he even got to me, I got up, I went, right, mate. I said, it's funny that, because the UFC cage was there. There was a big promo for, you know what I mean? I met Anderson
really?
and all that. Yeah. I went, oh, mate, we'll have a go. And he went, no, John, I was only joking. I says, well, you caused loads of shit.
Yeah.
So then like phoned me back up, goes, oh, there's a lad wants to fight you, he says, because he thinks you're shit. Now, bear in mind, I was 53-year-old, Danny.
Yeah.
53-year-old. So I had to get ready to fight this kid who was about 35, 32. And he's supposed to be coming in at 62 kilos. And he came in at 75, and it was cut out of granite. And I was this, I'd got some shape in my body. I'll be honest. I'd just got some shape in my body. And it was going to be an MMA fight. And we were fighting in Huddersfield. And some of our lot fought. I think Dean Mallam fought. You know
Dean,
what I mean?
I love Dean.
And he fought, and his mate fought. What do they call him? Oh, the blonde hair. He just used to jump in with anybody. Anyway, he fought. So I've got Tim Greaves, and I've got Andy Smith, right? And I'm in a changing room, getting psyched up for obviously the fight of my life now, because I'm 53-year-old. I'm not. So I'm like going. I'm getting rid of all of these evil spirits inside me, marching up and down. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Then they come in and go, oh, he doesn't want you to strike. I said, what do you mean? I said, it's supposed to be an MMA fight. He goes, no, he doesn't want you to strike. I said, no, because he knows I'm going to knock him out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Blame him, to be fair.
Anyway, so I'm still nervous because I want to do good. And them two are drunk full of Jack Daniels, talking a load of crap. And I went, you beat it. You're not helping me at all. And he just laughed, you'll do all right. You know, they just think like it's all about just jumping in and doing it. Like,
yeah.
So I went in and I beat him. And I beat him. Yes, I beat him. But what was the most important to me? The most important to me is my baptism of fire, which lifted my spirit to get me there, which is this is what I'm saying about MMA. It's my baptism of fire. What was I doing? I was rolling with everybody in the gym. And when I couldn't roll no more, I'd shout not Charlie, I'd shout Howard over, and he wouldn't want to roll with me, but he rolled with me again. So whatever I was doing, I was going to tired, and I was going to muscle memory, and I was going past it to exhaustion.
You were taking extra, yeah.
brand new. There's a picture of it somewhere on my timeline, but we're like, I look like that. And he looks like that. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, life's like that. And and if you talk and you love MMA, and this is the MMA podcast, MMA is a decision that you got to make and believe spiritually that you're going to do, and then you've got to be resolute in your attitude to everything. You know Absolutely. What I mean? I've heard people say before, well, you get no respect and you get no respect. You only get respect when you earn respect.
Absolutely.
You have to go out. They had this little geeky bloke who he used to sit in his bedroom sculpting things and drawing things, didn't have the confidence to go to a proper art lesson. And then he teaches martial arts. And then he thinks, well, if I be accepted as a fighter, then maybe that'll be a better thing. But in that transition, he's already realizing he's got more confidence. So he works on his art and gets better at his art, which helps his martial arts.
Absolutely.
There's just so many.
Yeah, it gave me my drive for comedy as well, because I think it's the work ethic that you put in. Yourself, going back to, you need to be doing it all the time. I mean, I go and train at your gym maybe once every other month now because I'm always on the road. But when I do come back, I realize how fit you've got to be, because I'll do 45-minute lesson and I'm absolutely knackered by the end of it. Whereas before, when I was training all the time, I could just do it like it was, like I'd just wing a golf club. You know what I mean? But it is very difficult to keep up the training. That's why I've just got so much respect for any martial artist or anyone who does any combat sport, because I just know how difficult it is.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I meet fighters. The fighters are the worst ones to deal with, because I was a fighter and there's a teeny bit of fight left in me. But what it is with fighters, and I get it, and I never got it for ages, but I do know because I'm a lot older. It's like, we're selfish. And I'll tell you why we're selfish. Because this is how we rationalize it. We're selfish because people can call it single-minded, but it's selfish.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that's going to walk in when that gate closes in that cage and have to fight. So we have to be directed towards ourselves. It's all about us. So it makes us single-minded. And it makes us, I lost families over it. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize at the time. And this is what it is. If you decide to become a fighter, if you decide to become any kind of fighter, MMA fighter, you have got to thoroughly to be good at it now, especially UFC. Imagine getting in UFC, man, getting a 5-figure contract. You know what I mean? I tell you what, if I was a kid again, I'd love it. I'd love it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even mind getting beat as long as I can come back and beat you back. You know what I mean? It's all that. It's that personal evolution then, and then go and train with him over there. Go and train with him. He does this over there. Go and train with the top team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go and train with St. Pierre. You know what I mean? All these lovely, influential, clever people. Go and train with BJ Penn, even though he doesn't answer his emails. You know what I mean?
But that's the beauty of it, though, isn't it? That's the beauty of it, because obviously, when you were talking about, going and training in different places and stuff like that, that's what people are doing now, Yeah. And like you say, you never stop learning, and that is the beauty of MMA.
Yeah. No one. People that love fighters are fans. People love fighters are the fighting. Fighters other than that, fighters are harder to understand.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah.
Fans. What happens is sometimes fans are people who can't fight. I'm not running fans down, by the way.
Yeah.
But they have this favorite thing. It's like I did. It's this role playing thing in your head, like something that you want to be. You want to kick like Bill Wallace. You want to back kick like Benny the Jet Urquidez. You know what I mean?
You want to
like Jigaro Kane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All them things.
Like I said, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? All these different, going to train in different places. But not only that as well, what I liked what you said earlier is when you says about yourself, I'm a talented fighter. I love using the word talented, because these people who look into MMA from the outside, who haven't really watched it, sort of look at it like it's this brutal sport. I don't think people realize how much talent and how much technique goes into what people are doing. And not only that, the conditioning of it all, you know, the fitness. There's just so much. I mean, you look at UFC now, they've got a strength and conditioning coach. They've got a dietitian. They've got, you know, they've got all these different things in order to be that complete fighter. And this is what these people don't understand.
Yeah, but they had, to be fair, it had to go that way because there was going to be a lot more deaths. If anything, the reputation, it's like you made a very good point earlier on about saying that everyone else was like horrified by the barbarism or so-called barbarism of the early UFCs. No, what I wanted to look and see what, like, if these people are going to answer their own eternal question, who would win between a boxer and a wrestler?
Absolutely.
But isn't it unique how things have evolved to, like, it used to be, I train judo with so-and-so. I do taekwondo with John Dawson. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you go out and fight in MMA circles now, you fight in so-and-so system. You fight in close combat arena system.
Yeah.
You know, what's that? What's that, karate, or is it kung fu? It's not. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. And the reason why it's two ways. It's because, one, yes, it's got to be more complete with the grappling and the striking and the fitness and the diet and all that. But it's got to be like, if I've got a young fighter in my gym and I don't want you to know what he's good at, you know what I mean? I call it close combat arena.
Yeah. It's the secret.
That's what happens, because once you put a label on something, you expect that when that fighter goes out, you know what I mean? He goes, oh, like this guy's ex-Golden Gloves, you know what I mean? But he's gone into the MMA. He's been doing MMA for, like, I don't know, 17, 18 years. But he's ex-Golden Gloves.
And then he just a takedown and you go, hang on, shouldn't he have been trying to punch him? Because he's like ex-Golden Gloves, you know? It's, listen, John, this has been an absolute pleasure, as it always is. I love coming training at the gym. I love your stories. And I mean, even when you used to train at the gym, you know, I'd always stop back for an hour because we just talk about stuff. And this has just been an absolute treat. And I just wanted the world to hear what you've got to say, because you're such an interesting man. You're a gentleman, and you've just brought a lot back to the community. And you know, your lifetime of martial arts and experience is just incredible. So thank you so much for coming on as a guest. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.